we are underway in the 2017 Premiership. It's Counties Manukau looking good. There is the opening try. There is Vietamo again. And he's spinning, and he's got it over. There's a super finish. Williams, great pass. Leone getting closer. That's a try. Oh, here's Tiamo. Look at this. Ruben Tiamo, what a run. Oh, he's going to go all the way. Oh. They are going to run it, Gillen. Oh, that's superb. And it's been a thriller here to start the NZRL Premiership.
And here's Aaron Jolly with a bit of a run, and there are runners on the inside. Away goes the number 6, Hayden Akarana. The top ball back to Jolly. It's good. It is excellent. We see it again. What a beauty. Look at this one. Oh, rugby league at its very best. Danger time here. This is Manukia. He is good. And Ledge is there as well. These two combine expertly. And that is great play too. Sala Falelua Malio.
He's been exceptional this whole game.
Waikato, well, they were good. In the end, the Premiers came through.
Kia ora and welcome to a very sunny Sunday afternoon down here at Mount Smart Stadium, where we get to check out some more homegrown goodness from the 2017 NZRL Premiership, where we get to see Akarana take on Counties Manukau for round 2. Joining me today is our rugby league expert, Monty Beetham.
You mentioned the sun, you mentioned the goodness, and there's plenty of it. You've got last year's grand finalists, the Falcons and Counties Manukau, going at it today in beautiful conditions. So I'm really excited about this one, Tash, and I'm sure the players are too, right here on Sky Sport.
In saying that though, 2016 done and dusted. It's a new year. How do you think they're going to go today?
Well, that's the thing. Obviously, you want to measure yourself up against last year's best. But even if you're last year's best, you want to make sure that you play and you send the message out to those that are biting at your toes or your heels that you are the one to still look out for. So I'm looking forward to great conditions, good expansive football across the board from both sides, and I think it's going to be a treat for us all.
Well, I can't wait for it, but first, earlier on today, we saw Waikato take on Canterbury Bulls, just going down 28-32. Coming up shortly though, Counties Manukau and Akarana Falcons, last year's finalists, going head-to-head for the 2017 NZRL National Premiership. Here are the standings and how they look right now. Sitting at the top is the Akarana Falcons. Actually, both teams that are going head-to-head today are sitting first and second. Canterbury Bulls are in there at third, and the Waikato team is looking for their first win of the competition. So, and with that in mind there, Monty, what's at stake today with these two 2016 finalists?
Well, last week was the first round. You got the cobwebs out, you're playing in your representative jumper, you're very proud of the region that you come from, and now it's your second chance at it. You know, we heard that the Falcons were a little bit underdone last week. They'll be better for the run, and also this county side who had a very tough game against the Bulls. So they're at home in front of their family and friends, and no doubt they'll be expecting a lot from these two sides who, over a number of years in the short history of this competition, have been very good teams.
Well, speaking of very good teams, Counties Manukau, here's who's running out in their colours today with Dale Husband.
Thanks very much, Tash, and welcome to Daylight Saving. Hey, there's a good lineup here for Rod Ratu. Their front row strong. Tupou, Aialupu, Tautalanoa, Reece Charlie and Reece Joyce will be an impressive combo, I bet. And out wide, Tofa and Edwards. Their bench today, Brown, Dawson, Toitu, and the biggest man on the track is Nekram Ariaiti. The Counties Manukau Stingrays are coached by Rod Ratu.
Okay, Rod, congratulations on last week's win. Now, we saw you against the Bulls, so some strong runs there, strong hit out. Was that good preparation for today's game?
Yeah, it's never easy down there. A few of the boys sort of had any footy for a while, so a few cobwebs in there. So thankfully we come out of there with no injuries.
The weather's looking good today, great for Sunday footy. What's your strategy going into today's game?
Just working off last week. Getting a bit more minutes out there, staying locked into that arm wrestle and that. Just completing our sets.
We saw some good performances from your 4, 5 and 6, especially last week, but also some strong runs from your number 11, John Vuetumbao. Are we expected to see that again today?
Yeah, they're just following on from their form through Fox. So they're in a good space, got a good rhythm going. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Rod, and all the best for today.
You mentioned that hometown goodness. There they are, the boys, young, fit, excited about what they've got at their hands today at home in front of many family and friends. The county's Manukau changing room, rolling out the legs, feeling good about it. And I know for a fact that these guys are pretty excited because after the last game they had in the first round, and this guy too, look at that, Tuilula here, the West Tigers man, coming back to home ground, getting a bit of sun. I hope he's got some sunblock on. Obviously going for probably Akarana Falcons would be Tui.
Probably. He ran out in that jersey as well. And speaking of Akarana Falcons, here's who's running out in their strip today.
Thanks again, Tash. And let's have a look at the lineup there. Kapawa and Falilua, two powerhouses with the big hair at the bookends today. Zach Tippins will start at 9. Phil Kingy actually starting in 7 today, and Ioka is on the bench. Francis Ledger had a strong game last week. Kolwaka, Corey Sita gives them plenty of firepower out wide. Ioka Pasene, Manukia and Graham Sewer are on the bench, and Kikali coaches the Akarana Falcons.
All right, Keith, awesome conditions today, but also an awesome chance to watch the rematch of last week's final.
Yeah, mate, how good's the conditions here today? It's sort of beach weather, isn't it? So maybe a little bit difficult to change that mindset, I suppose. Last year's final, very, very tough contest, always a challenge to play the boys from out south. We're expecting a real physical contest, especially in that middle third. For us, it's probably about sorting out our defensive side of the ball, being a bit tighter around the ruck, and it all starts with time on the ground, doesn't it? So.
Speaking of that time, what difference has a week made for you guys in one game under your belt?
Yeah, there's an old saying in football, isn't it? There's no fitness like match fitness. And, credit to Waikato. They were very, very good last week, and we were probably a little bit underdone. So, I think we'll be a little bit better today.
Thank you very much, Keith, and all the best today.
There's the boys warming up in that sun we're talking about. Tuilula here looking on, seeing these guys get nice and warm and limber for what's ahead. A very good county side. Round 1, they both had 2 wins, and now that man, Zach Tippins, is going to be important today when he comes on and starts this game. Last week he came off the bench, so no doubt Zach Tippins will be a huge part in what they do today and starting well, Tash.
Now, you mentioned Zach Tippins' name there, some young ones to look out for. Who are some other young ones on the field who we should be keeping an eye on today?
Look, there's plenty, but for me, I think it's more about Zach Tippins and what he does at a dummy half. I think it was Kingy last week, that was a dummy half. He moves to halfback. So I think between those two, they're two very important parts of the spine and what they can throw at this county side, who were very strong last week, physically very demanding game against the Bulls. So I'm looking forward to that being the same here today in those opening exchanges.
Absolutely. It's a great platform for our young players to get out there and get noticed a little bit, because of course after last year's tournament, a few guys got signed up by the NRL teams, and obviously in the back of their mind that's probably there as well.
Look, you're always in the shop window, and when you're on TV, you're at home, this is the ground that you get very excited about. People are watching here, but also at home and overseas, so they'll be putting their best foot forward tonight. Well,
calling your game today is the man Dale Husband and Monty Beetham, and here they are now.
Thank you very much, Tash, and a warm welcome. As you can see, a bit of cloud overhead here at Mount Smart Stadium. Not the throngs of people that we might see at an NRL fixture. But I tell you what, those who have gathered here, gold coin donation will be in for a good game. I have to think that these are some of their girlfriends. And here they are along to support their perhaps cousins or mates. It's great to have you along too, wherever you're watching today. Shane Ream will be in control, and what is really a local rivalry and a bit of a local derby really between these two teams, as we see them walking out. Willie Stowers, Wheeler Lupo, co-captains for the county's Manukau Stingrays. There's Buchanan down the left side, the blonde here of Francis Ledger. He's had a wonderful season, Francis. And of course here come the two lads who are the popo or the bookends really. That's Selinga Kapawa and also Sala Falilua. Scored a wonderful try, Sala, late in the game. Looking there is John Vuetumbao. He's been very good as Phil Kingy comes around, bit of handshakes going on. and some good sportsmanship prior to the game. Well, they meet each other a lot during the season and have done again this season. The county's Manukau players, predominantly from the south, of course, and ratified as a New Zealand Rugby League zone 7 years ago when there was this far-reaching review of the structures of New Zealand Rugby League. Of course, the southern part of Auckland, the Franklin district, was always part of the Auckland Rugby League catchment. And after the advice of the commissioner who did that review, suggesting counties Manukau should have a zone in their own right. But of course, the name Counties Manukau Rugby League goes back quite a long time, and you can think all the way back to, I guess it was the Heroes back in the day. But 2015, the last time that the Stingrays won this championship. We're about to get underway, round 2 of the NZRL Premiership.
Stay behind here.
We are underway, the local derby here at Mount Smart Stadium between these two crack outfits. The Falcons running from your right to left. The number 8 Asala Falelua. He and Selinga Kapau will look to add some starch right from the get-go. This is Raleigh Buchanan out of Glenora, the Fox Premiership victors for 2017. He's had a very strong season since coming up from down country. I think he's from Porirua. And it's now with the Falcons, who'll play the ball just short of the 30-metre line. And Selinga Kapau gets his first touch and holds it into Reece Charlie, who is the back rower today for the Rod Ratu coached Stingrays. And Monty, I see you hearing yourself up those stairs as well, and you're in such wonderful nick that you're not even breathing heavy. A warm welcome to you, mate.
Oh, great to be here. Very excited about this clash indeed. Conditions are perfect. The players are amped, and you can see already the intensity for this round 2 clash between last year's finalists. It's heating up. Great start there by the Falcons.
And now the Stingrays with it through centre field. You'd understand why there'd be a little settling in period as Georgie Edwards plays the ball 10 short of the halfway. Ailupo, one of the 3 brothers formerly out of the Ortalis squad, but Ailupo playing his footy now across there in Howick. He's the co-captain today. Well, I think he might be with Kura. To be honest, as we see the red and white working their way up towards the 30-metre line. On the 5th and final tackle now. Trying their chances down the left edge. That's been touched and then picked up at the back here by the Akarana Falcons. A decent old chase there from the Stingrays, though.
We'll see what they can do now in defence. Got them right in the area where they can jam up. Nice little run out there from Legia, getting them out of trouble and relieving some of the pressure off his forwards.
Well, Akarana started sluggishly last week. They were down actually 22-10 at half-time against Waikato, who again lost, but only by a small margin today, just 4 points in it against the Canterbury Bulls. But a surging second-half performance by the Akarana Falcons saw them score 26 unanswered points to take a 36-28 victory last week. That'll give them some confidence as the ball is punched deep and taken by Geronimo Doyle, one of 2 second division players that have been chosen by Rod Ratu to represent the Stingrays. Of course, they won't be second division next year. Geronimo, he'll be going up into the Fox Championship as well as Siravini Taufa, who's on the right wing. Both of them with the Otahu Club in the Shaman Cup through 2017. They are Fox bound for 2018. The Stingrays with the ball centre field now as they drive forward. And some solid D put on again by the number 8, Falelua. Power gets around as Charlie gets up to play the ball. And here's the kick from Willie Stowers, co-captain today, taken at the back by Palema Siaki. Did some good work last week. The FMG Stadium now finds himself in some space. Raleigh Buchanan is on the inside. He should have the legs to get there. Away he goes to score underneath the posts. What a great start. The 23-year-old is in to score. And a perfect start here for the Akarana Falcons.
Well, you said he should have the legs. He was only finding enough the legs to get back on site. And as he was trying to get back on his way of halfway, there was that man that broke through, Palema Siaki. Devastating run. You mentioned what he did last week. Very fast. Only slide in his build. You see here, sort of in and away. He broke 2 tackles then. He got into space. There he is. Buchanan's on the sideline. Here I am. Use me up. And I didn't know if he was going to quite have enough to get there. He put the palm out. Beautiful bit of evasion. Got right between two defenders right there. He still sums his ball up. The situation, ball in two hands. And there he is on the inside. There he is. That's what you get.
Well, kia ora, g'day to all of our viewers on Sky Sport in Porirua. There is one of your own into score, but geez, had a good season with the Glenora Bears. And he's a rangy second rower, but he just seems to get himself everywhere. Good communication with Siaki that time around, but a wonderful bust and breakthrough from the back. It's interesting to hear the plaudits being afforded Billy Slater as he comes to his grand final performance in a week's time, and how one man and his style of play has changed the way that a position is played. You might make some comment on that too, because we're seeing slight fullbacks with plenty of pace, and they're gutsy in their return of the football.
It's all about timing, vision, knowing where to turn up, and obviously if you've got the speed, it helps you turn up at the right place at the right time. As you see Siaki then just easily between two defenders. He sums up the situation well, and he puts that man Relu Buchanan away from Porirua, who's been good. We saw him for Glenora starring. Once again, he scores a try, and he was good last week too in round 1 of the National Premiership.
He was indeed. And Palima Siaki, who popped the pass across to Daniel as well. He's playing exceptional footy, 23-year-old, second year with this representative squad. Colourful images of the Eastern Stand here at Mount Smart Stadium. Of course, the sun setting slowly. But it's barbecue weather, mate. We've wound our clocks forward an hour. We'll be looking forward to some late September sausages. 20 metres in for the western touchline. It's Akarana with the ball at the moment, up by 6.
Hold! Give him space, 13.
Like you, Monty, I was impressed with Morgan Cutier's lads last week from Waikato, but they might find it a little tough. Of course, just the 4 teams in the top division. There's a promotion relegation. This is how Waikato came to be in the top tier. After 7 wins on the trot, including the last of them against Wellington to seal that 4th spot in the comp. And at the back, Geronimo Doyle steady under some pressure applied by Corey Sita. But Doyle is pretty handy, and the man with the rather interesting name does well at the back for the Stingrays.
What also is doing quite well for this Falcons side at the moment is their defensive structures and what they're doing. They seem to be getting more numbers in the tackle. Hanley spoke about not really being up to it defensively last week. They had to work on that against a very formidable side in Counties and what they can throw at you. It's a quality game now between two quality sides over the short history of the National Premiership. They've always done exceedingly well.
5th and final for the Stingrays. Now 42 metres out. Casey King is the general manager of the Counties Manukau Stingrays. He's done a good job getting the franchise together and always competitive, as we see Siaki at the back. But really they are a zone that's morphed out of, you might remember the Counties Manukau Heroes in the mid-90s, originally coached, if you'll recall, by Stan Martin, then taken over by Cameron Bell, and they had some real gun players running around in that strip for that time.
Fetutawa was the name. It was actually the Dolphins before they moved to the Heroes, and how I know that, I was a ball boy. I was one of the oldest ball boys, but, you know, still being part of a team, and I think Pat Carthy was the manager. Jason Temu was another guy that played in that side, and obviously didn't go on to win it, but they had some fine players that have gone on to. Solomon Kitty was another name mentioned that they've done really well for this South Auckland franchise.
Yes, 17-year-old ball boy. At the back, Geronimo Doyle. Other names you might recall: Dwayne Mann, Frank Wharton, even Clayton Fred running around at that time. Of course, his uncle coaching. And big ups to you too, Cameron, if you happen to be watching today, wherever you are. Dean, the Bells, great contributors to, to Auckland Rugby League. This is the local derby. It's the Falcons and the Stingrays. Very pleased to have your company this afternoon here on Sky Sport. Proudly made in New Zealand. 8 minutes gone, 6-0, just the one try. That after 4 minutes to Relu Buchanan. And now the Stingrays mounting an attack, but the Falcons pretty solid in their D and work at the moment on the 5th and final tackle on the 30-metre line now. Cruz Tupou will shuffle the ball along to Reece Joyce. Name you'll remember from the NRL rookie. Has been beautifully taken by the Stingrays. And there is a try to Johnny Wittenbow. He has been very good. In fact, in the train-on squad for the Fijian squad for the World Cup as well. But that time around, he just kept his eye on the ball and he got hold of it and was able to sprint the 12 or 13 metres to score just beside the post. Good try to beat Johnny V.
I think Johnny Wittenbow, he was there to score the try. Quick answer back from Counties. They needed to. Remember, a kicker's only as good as a chase. There's only one Counties player in there and 3 Akarana, but he managed to get up and beat the other 3 to the ball. A nice spin and pirouette and come away with it. Nice high knee lift and technique in taking that ball. He knew where he was going, under the black dot.
Well, there he is. You know, Johnny's now with Howick, played last season with the Papakura guys as well. And as mentioned, in the Fiji train-on squad, to be a wonderful feather in his cap who was able to make that, because they'll have a really good team at the World Cup, won't they, Fiji?
Oh, they'll be good. You can just think about some of the names. You know, they could be on board. You've got the Sims boys, you've got Radradra. There's so many players. Uwate, even Hayne if he puts his name in the hat. This could be the pick of the island teams, no doubt about it. Looking forward to that. You can get all that coverage here on Sky Sport of the Rugby League World Cup.
Well, we're at it too. Congratulations to Joseph Parker. I know that you've had a lot to do with Joseph's developing career, Monty, and while it won't go down as one of his best victories, tough to go to Manchester and come away with the win.
And that's the main thing, right? To get a win, to still be the WA champion of the world. He too will be the hero to a lot of these boys out there playing today. They get inspiration from him.
You see Manu was there as a supporter as well, and good to see him on screen as Joseph made his way into the arena. Francis Ledger with the restart. And that's not something you see all that often, not from a guy as experienced as Willie Stowers, that's for sure.
Opportunity now for the Falcons. After kicking off, get the ball back, get a chance to return service. Francis Ledger still breathing the heavy ones in. This has been a step up from the first round, and we expected that with these two guys or teams being so heavily involved in the finals throughout this whole competition.
Well, 1 and 2, not surprisingly, after the first couple of rounds, and this time it's Salinga Kapawa, formerly with the Richmond Bulldogs, now with Point Shed. I really like his wholehearted attitude to his football. He's not a big prop, but he certainly gets involved plenty, as we see the Akarana Falcons starting to build some momentum. Nicholas Wilson making the tackle, but berated for his technique as well. Nick Wilson with us today in jersey number 12 on debut for the Counties Monaco Stingrays. Now Akarana with it and to the 10-metre line. Wheeler Lupo making the tackle. Dummy half work here for Tippins, skipping it out to the right-hand side. Numbers as Siaki cuts into the line. A desperate cover defence, tackle 2 by Reece Joyce. Pretty impressive as Ledger punches it out wide, out to Joseph Price, who has the ball, trying to spin away from the first line of defence. Willie Stowers bolstered that defensive effort, but they'll keep it down the short side and into the shadows. Here's Rowley Buchanan, try number 2 for the second rower. Gee, he's been good, just finds himself in good position, and he's in the score for the Falcons.
Well, he really ran a hard line. It was an unders line. I thought he was well covered in terms of people in front of him, as they have a few quick words behind the try line, trying to get back into this match in terms of encouragement. Geez, he's been good. Already only a few, plenty of touches on the ball. We see them coming down the short side. He runs that unders line. 2, 3, 4 guys that he carries over the line. If you're Counties, you've got to get off the line. You've got to ensure that you get up in his face, especially this guy, especially with the confidence he's been running with today. Second try.
One of the finds of the season, you'd have to think. He was outstanding in the Fox final too. Where, of course, the Glenora Bears and Epelahame Lauaki absolutely monstered the Pirates, but Rayleigh Buchanan was right on song as well, and proving that he's in good touch and good form at the moment. It's Francis Ledger with the kicking duties today. That young guy, Francis. In fact, not as young as some. He's played New South Wales Cup, the Warriors as well through this season. And, he'll be looking forward to add the extras here. He's about 15 in from the eastern touchline. Great conditions for rugby league here this afternoon as well. If you've just joined us, news through from Waikato, 32-28, and it's the Canterbury Bulls picking up their first win of the season. This is Francis Ledger. This one will swing to the left, and so we'll be at 10-6 with 12 gone here in round 2.
Zach Tippins knew what he was doing. He was always going for the extra points. The 2 points were on offer. He could have thrown it over. They decided to keep the ball in hand. Zach Tippins popping it down the short side. This man, Raylu Buchanan, very good, getting across the line, carrying 3 guys with him.
Bruce Tupou tried to take him ball and all, and he's not one of the bigger guys, physique-wise, but he must be a little ungainly, a bit difficult to put away. As the Stingrays with the restart, already 3 tries, 15 minutes. You're seeing a fair score here this afternoon. Wrapped up as Paya Manukia. Raylu Buchanan again, got a good fend. He carries the ball. What about Toma Lolo's monstrous efforts again in the semi-final? Reminded that some forwards really make their mark. I think he carried 21 times for 230 odd metres. So he's really showing the big man how it's done. Ledger down the right side, Seater on the far side. Chasing after him is George Edwards. He comes back inside, and he and Gillette, Edwards and Gillette, effect the tackle now. Midway, 20 and 30. Stingrays into the ground. Across the top goes Totalanoa. Wedembo also there as it goes for Phil Chingy. Now to Jordan Tuanai. Beautiful play. Inside run for Joseph Price. And the Falcons are on fire.
Great inside pass. You mentioned Billy Slater earlier in the court. It's a speed, a player that he likes to do quite often, knowing when to try him in. We've seen Siaki and what he did with his speed earlier on to put a hand into the first try for Raylu Buchanan. At that time, he's good. Look at this. Goes to the line here. No look pass to the inside. Siaki realising that he couldn't quite get there. He draws in the fullback. And he gets that man Price, who's no stranger to hard work, a deserving customer of a try, and he's happy. And he's not the lazy one. Can't be to score a try like that.
No, he's a really good player, Joseph Price. I love seeing him, enjoys his football. The ball on the inside, that was at 2 and I popped the pass back to Siaki. It was superb. As you say, they were just, in good sync. Nice understanding. They just created the opportunity for Joseph Price. Continues to impress the Mount Albert 21-year-old. We had a couple of runs with the Storm under 20s as well. So when you're in that camp, under that sort of tutelage, you just would start to think that you are capable of playing in the top level. But at 21, things could still unfold professionally for the try scorer Price. This is Ledger. Okay, you can add that to the ledger. Okay, there we are. 16-6 is your scoreline at the moment of the Falcons. 3 tries to 1. Plenty of tries going to be on show, it would seem, this afternoon.
Yep, and it's all from the Falcons, really. They've been on song thanks to that man largely. Siaki chiming in with his speed, catching defenders off, and Joseph Price very happy.
Wouldn't mind another story of what the lazy one is all about. I suppose you look at it and say, don't be lazy.
The lazy one was the one that missed the tackle, I think, perhaps. Somehow, I don't think so.
Oh, well, next time we get to watch them play, we'll have to suss that one out there. Well, I'm starting to see what he's got to say about it. Raylu Buchanan again, 31 out. Tippins, Price, going good at the moment, isn't he? Wrapped up, but a little awkward to put to ground. Right-hand side, Kapawa. Wonderful name, and sort of brings back images of the Batman 60s, things that flashed up, Kapow, and bang, and smash, and all of those sorts of cartoonish little things that would emerge. Kapow is a neat name. And he's working hard as well. Ailupo is being replaced. Look, they've got some big guys too, the Counties Monaco Stingrays. They've got Mari 80. I think that's him just about to come on, and when you see him, you'll know what I mean. Buchanan Rafferty is wrapped up by Kapawa. 22 metres out from the line. But Dusty here, what's happened? Broken wrist, sore, broken something. Or is it a stinger? Elbow? Shoulder? I don't know if the tackler should be the doctor, but anyway, that's what we're witnessing.
Well, he's lending a hand, isn't he? Great sportsmanship then. A little bit surprised. I'm not too sure. Normally, I'm on point with my sort of theories on what went on.
Like?
Well, this one in particular, I'm not too sure. That's what I'm trying to figure it out. But over the years, seeing little injuries unfold, I can tell you what it is. How we're looking now as he goes into contact. Rafferty, he goes in, he's on his back. And the strange thing is his muscles seem to have tense up and he couldn't release it, did it? Look at there. And he was getting the help.
This is Buchanan Rafferty. He's from Manarewa. Actually raised in North Queensland, Buchanan. As we look on to the Stingrays bench, that's Aoka there as well as Ailupo. A little bit of concern out here for Rafferty.
I think everyone's watching on, unsure of what happened as he comes from the field now. His shoulder's still hanging very low.
I'm pleased to see that he's walking off, and obviously he knew exactly that he'd popped something in that shoulder. Great to have you along here. You're watching the NZRL National Premiership Round 2 Stingrays. And this is Nekrom Ariaiti. Played a bit of ball to Nekrom for the Junior Warriors. Then went across to Penrith. And now with the Manarewa Marlins. And here's an intercept. Ledger does get hold of the ball. He's good at that, intercepting, I mean. 25 metres out, and they're on the back foot again as the Akarana Falcons start issuing a few more challenges here to the Stingrays. They'll have to work hard and stay very focused on D because they're looking to come in with try number 4. And here's the man who scored 2 of them already, Raleigh Buchanan. He's only 6 metres out from the try line. Here's a good chance. Zach Tippins to Joseph Price. The spinning effort from Kapawa driving towards the line. And he is repelled at the last minute. Johnny V does the work. He's the ground 5 metres out from the try line. Falcons, you've got to fancy their chances. Spinning back on the inside to Manu Kia, but he can't get across the line. And the 5th and final tackle is signalled. Time off. And referee Ream will ask Paya to play the ball now with Tippins, Tuarai, the grubber into the in goal. The bounce slightly awkward, and it's been taken across the line, I thought, from the Stingrays, and that is the way that Shane Ream reads it as well. We'll go underneath the crossbar for the restart.
Well, I thought you should have left that ball, let it go out. There's no real threat of a try. But he's forced to get a late play on it.
Thanks very much. Well, Tash is sideline. Tash got a few words from that player. He just left the field, Tash.
Yeah, just a bit of an update on Buchanan Rafferty there, who went off. Looks like he's got a bit of a shoulder injury. His shoulder's dislocated. They had a few goes at trying to pop it back in. They're now in the tunnel at the moment. I can hear him. He sounds like he's in a lot of pain. And they're still just trying to manage his pain at the moment. So once they update me there and see how it's going, it doesn't look like he'll be back on today, though.
Thanks very much, Tash. We'll wish him well as he gets some work done on that. Paya Manukia now 10 metres out. The Falcons applying some pressure and turning the screws, but the ball has gone to ground. It went into the hands briefly of Silinga Kapawa. He's had a strong first quarter. But this time around, he just makes a little mistake, and a sigh of relief, really, for the supporters. The boys in red, they'll play the ball 10 from their line, or pack a scrum, I should say. And here's another look.
So, second row is the one you're bonding with each other.
I've enjoyed what they've done today in terms of the variety they've thrown at them in the ruck. The passing of the forwards, Zach Tippins getting out and turning some players inside. That time the execution was a little bit off, but I think they need to keep up with what they're trying to do with the ball movement. It really has been helping with the inroads through this middle third of the county's Monaco side.
You know, we knew they were a bit underdone last week with the first round of the Premiership, but where's the improvement from the Falcons here? Admittedly, they're 3 tries up, and they were down 22-10 half-time last week, so there's significant improvement we're witnessing here a weekend.
Both with the ball and without the ball defensively. I think that was the area that Coach Hanley wanted to be better in today, and obviously against really good quality players and counties, you've got to be up for that. That's what they're doing with the ball in hand, and largely due to that man Zach Tippins being on the field, just orchestrating out of dummy half, using all his experience from the various competitions he played in.
Tofa hasn't had a lot of ball the right wing here for the Stingrays, but he gets his chance now. Cruz Tupou slides into dummy half. Of course, the son of legend Songi Tupou will be watching on today. Kia ora to you, Songi. Now 20 metres from the try line. Here's the young fella, dishes it up to the left-hand side. Ariati, the floater over the top was a bit of a speculator. Edwards is good, but he's under some pressure as the Falcons come all around him. Wrap him up. Johnny Freddenbow pops the pass late to Edwards, a bit of a mid-air goosey from him, and then he straightens, wrapped up in the tackle of Tippins. And Kapawa, they put him away out from the try line. Good chance here now for the Stingrays to answer back. Up 16-6, the Falcons through the hands of Joyce. Now wide to Stowers. Stowers kicks to the end goal, and the bounce will be important. And the diving effort from Sedevete Tofa wasn't too far wide of the mark.
Well, I thought there was too much weight on it, but the bounce favoured his wing. Unfortunately, one bounce too far, wasn't able to get it, as we see. Falcons coming out of their own end now. It's important that counties hold them down here. Try and keep them pinned in their end of the field for a little portion of the game at least. 10 points, the buffer at the moment for the Falcons.
That man tackled a few moments ago, Morgan Timothy Cook, and 5 for the Falcons. Of course, Auckland under 17s. He's also been a junior Black Sox World Series player. There's Morgan Cook on the left wing for the Falcons. That was 5 years ago, admittedly. But, skills a number of codes. Here's the kick from Phil Kingy. Certainly haven't lost anything from having Tippins on from the get-go in 9. Kingy working from the scrum base. He's a very good distributor and a really good marshaller of the troops. Phil Kingy, 26 years of age. He's played for New Zealand Māori, so he's got a ton of experience. He's doing a good job for his coach at the moment, Keith Hanley. Now the Stingrays just trying to make some inroads, this time through Nicholas Wilson. Dummy half is Tofa. A little bit pedestrian through the middle there as they chain pass, and the ball's been jarred loose from Ariaiti. In fact, there was a hand in there as well. So this will be a good pick-up, an opportunity to drive downfield for the Stingrays.
Yeah, a little bit too lateral. Akarana easily just sliding off and getting numbers to him and meeting him once he gets the ball flat. It's not what you want. Finally gets to go forward. He deserves a big boy. But unfortunately, there's a hand in there, which has put them in a good position now. Counties Monaco.
So here they are. That ball has gone down and backwards, but Reen says that we'll back the scrum. And that's big Ariati. I really like seeing big players involved.
Yep,
and I'd encourage anyone who's, 23 stone to start getting their boots on and wind themselves up for the 2018 season.
Oh, look, that's one thing you don't want to see is big men like this running at you when you're a tight defender in the middle of the field, or even a half. You see big, strong men, they can dominate the game. And just as we mentioned, big men, 2 of the biggest men there today for the Stingray side.
With the ball is Cole Walker. I told you last week about Cole, first year with Akarana, plays for the New Zealand Air Force team and Auckland under 21s. He did play on the wing, I'm sure, last week. He's in the centres this week for Hanley. The Falcons now, that's him there. So if you see him, salute. Down the right side, Joey Price has it. Try scorer from the 16th minute, 10 minutes ago. No addition to the scoreline as yet. On the charge, there's Kitty on a percent. A wall of red defenders there.
Just stand and play it.
Price again wrapped up. Short side play. The side four as 2-8 gets hold of the ball and he has harangued. He manages to jar the ball. It's still fifth and final. Zach Tippins gets a pass away. Slightly awkwardly, and 2-8. Well, I'm sure that the door will shut this time around, surely. And he's still going. He's trying to get the ball away. And he will concede, unlike some of our politicians last night.
You ready?
Well, there have been chances to get the kick away, but refusing
That's what move
to
away.
take the option or the opportunity. They always wanted to better themselves in terms of how much yards they can get or be in a better position. Sometimes you just got to take what you get and get rid of that ball.
So the Stingrays have it. There's a little bit more composure in their attitude at the moment. Just a little bit more steady as David Toitu almost breaks through, and had he have had a runner on his hip, they were a chance to pop the pass. And it comes to Wilson. Inside ball is nice. Little bounce away too from Willie Stowers. And he's weaving some magic. Stowers finally closed down by Siaki, but within the 10 metres. Fifth and final tackle for the boys in red as they shuffle it through Reece Joyce. He'll go wide quickly as well. And the pass needs to be delivered. It's been popped back, but whether it was knocked on by Sito, we'll just have to wait and see
No, knock on by Blue.
how that's read. And that indeed is a Stingrays opportunity from 10 out. Good chance.
I thought he was facing towards his goalpost, hence the ball going back, but I wasn't in the best position as referee Shane Ream was, and he was quick to adjudicate on that one. Sita's not happy. He realises the pressure he puts his team under now. They come out wide.
This is Charlie Dawson, and he really did have to pop the pass.
That's a great call by Shane Ream. He was on the money. He dragged it forward
Heads down, guys.
slightly before he got back down on it with two hands.
Charlie Dawson, one of the big guys too. He's had some Australian experience. Came back and played with the Warriors 20s as well. Papakura last year, good to see him running around. This time the pass is for Wilson. It's popped up to by Howard Brown. Brown's from Māori East. That's in there in shot now in the dummy half roll, and he'll drop the ball back on the inside for a charging run, and it's a beauty as well. The biggest man on the field's Nekrumari 80, and he's in to score for the Stingrays.
How quick did he bounce up? That man, that size, scores a try, and he was up quickly. Fleet-footed is a planned move. Nekrum knew what he was doing, and he said, try and stop me, you boys. He realised he was coming back against the grain, against some tired defenders. There it is right there. He still had some work to do. Look at that. Get out of my way. Four guys try to assist, but he was right on that guy. Jordan Tuarai, do your best. You don't want to see the sight of this big man bearing down on you. You quickly look for help. Good try, Nekrum.
I reckon so too. There's a great attitude on display there, and he picked his man, didn't he? And it wasn't a guy of similar size. It was the standoff, much more slightly built, and of course Nekrum on the good angle as well. So Willie Stowers looking for the extras here, and we'll get an update from Tash too off the back of this conversion, perhaps. I'll find out a little more about how Buchanan Rafferty is faring here. He popped his shoulder. He was taken off 5 or 7 minutes ago. And Stowers with one that really he needed to get. 16-10 is the scoreline. And if I was a betting man, I would have bet Stowers would have got that one. Here is your try scorer, Nekrum Ariaiti. Let's go sideline with Tash. An update, Tash?
Yeah, just a bit of an update right now. I can tell you my prediction was all wrong. Buchanan Rafferty is back on the bench. Counties Manukau is back to a four-man bench today.
Riwaha, that's what he says.
Well, that's what they do say, actually.
Yeah, well, he just pointed to his wrist and it's got Riwa all over that. And, you know, look, I thought he was gone up. Very tough indeed, and he realises he doesn't let his team down as he gets that shoulder going, showing us that he's ready to go and put it into action.
Well, you're not in Guatemala now, Dr. Tash.
Tackle one, up now, 17.
20 metres out.
Marcus, all right.
A twist to the tail now as we see the Falcons just starting to build some momentum here. And they'll get a penalty. They'll piggyback themselves downfield a little.
That's interference. Knees gone in. Knocked it out.
I've always liked Shane Ream's refereeing style. He was the #1 ref for the 20s for a number of years, actually. He's taken a bit of a break, but now good to see him back in control. Ref's a good game. So now it's the Stingrays. They're starting to make inroads into the Falcons' defensive line. Raleigh Buchanan continues to work hard. Ali shuffles the ball along, centre field playing 32 metres out. They're a good chance again. As sliding in for his work is Howie Brown. That's him with the football. Pops the pass back to Keanu Dawson. Well, I think it was a giant. But when you put him beside Ali, not so. Loose carry, says Ream. And it's the Falcons who have the ball on the 30-metre line.
Yeah, now there's probably the smaller of the players available in the middle of the field, but he is having some great contribution today as Siaki, that speed followed by the big punch, the men up the middle, been good to watch. Like I said, the variety through the ruck has been good from the Falcons. Need to go back to passing their ball a little bit, little couple of two-man plays as we've seen there, bit of support play. It's going to help them get through. A county side that at the moment are sort of upbeat because of the success they've been having.
17 is Graham Sewer. He's a big unit as well, and enjoying seeing also the young 21-year-old Rooster as well, who's working hard. That little kick through for the Falcons, looking to regather. It's Tuarai, but it wasn't to be. The Stingrays have the ball. Geronimo Doyle into acting half, and George Edwards is not getting as much ball as he deserves, really. He's a very potent weapon at times, George Edwards. But he can't inject himself into the line without that football, and so he comes in search of it. His darting run from dummy half, and the tackle is made there by Salafale Lua. Here's the kick, and it's going deep at the back. Is the #1, Tolima Saki. Morgan Cook comes in to go as acting half. That's him with the ball now. 15 in from the west. And Tui Lula here is going to pop in and say hi as well. It's great to have him back. And, he'll talk with us a little. That's what his intentions are during the off-season, and he'll be chatting with Tash in the half-time break as well. So, as we come up to the last 5 minutes of this first half, it's anyone's game here, as you can witness. 16-10 down the short side. Tuarai sends it inside for Ali Buchanan. He gets a pass. I thought maybe it drifted forward, and it comes back for the try scorer, and that is Tuarai. But Rowley Buchanan, what a game he's having again today.
Was it anyone had a bigger contribution than that man, Rowley Buchanan? He scored 2 tries. He's been everywhere. Defensively sound too. That time he shows that he can keep the ball alive. The offloading ability was good. Great to see from this Falcon side. Increases the lead to 10 points. You see here, Rowley Buchanan, he comes on the unders line. But Jordan Tuarai, he knew that he was going to come back off his shoulder after he gave him the cut. He was there. So Tuarai too, you got to take a bow. Be in a position, he did well to reach back for that. He steps off the left foot and he takes it under the black dot. Too easy.
Looking good too. He's got plenty of experience, the 26-year-old. His first year though with the Akarana squad, the Falcons. Of course, has got some experience too with the Melbourne Storm 20s himself, Jordan. Also some stints at the Roosters and the Lions as well. As we look into the Brains Trust there at the Akarana Falcons, they'll be pretty satisfied with the first half effort. 3.5 to play and up by 10 at the moment. We can pretty much guarantee that that'll be 12 too, because I'd be surprised if Francis misses from close range like that. And that is the scoreline as we head towards the half-time break. Still a bit to go, of course. But tries to Rowley Buchanan, 2 of them. Price and Tuarai up against 2 from Rutubo and Ariaiti. 22-10. But still, we know with the talent on show here for Counties Manukau, You can certainly pull that back if they get a good start to the second 40. Here is the restart. 2.5 to play here in the first half as the Falcons get hold of the ball, and then the charging run from Graham Sewer. He turns from Glenora, second year with Akarana. He played under 20 football as well, Graham Sewer, with the Sydney Roosters. Plenty of experience here, and international experience as well. The guys go and try their hand, the under 20s across the Tasman. Come back and raise their families over here because it's, you know, so much better country, better people, more culture, more intelligent. All of these things draw them home, Monty.
That's right, and it's great that they can play at home on TV in front of their family and friends, the people that they care so much about. And put on display like we've seen today. That man Siaki once again showing how good he is.
Oh, he's going left, right. With an army run. Left, right, left, right. Out to the right-hand side. A spinning effort from Zach Tippins, who gets the offload as well. Look at this spinning go. And he's in again. Well, amazing. Jordan Tuilai goes back to back, and they kick away on the scoreboard, the Falcons.
Well, they've come 100 metres, haven't they? It's been pretty much a team effort. A lot of the big contributors throughout the day chiming in. Zach Tippins as well. Tuilai. When we have another look at it, you're going to see that he pretty much was in slow motion when he spun, he pirouetted, he got out of danger. There you go, Tippins. Hit and spin. Got the ball. You see that sort of movement then, it was sort of to the side, pirouette, get around, and it did enough to get that ball down. Zach Tippins avoiding the huge contact early on. A little bit awkward there, but still fleet-footed, and he gets the ball down. He's had a big 10 minutes, Tuilai. He's had a hand in everything. It's really helped get this team out to a very good lead with the kick to come. 16 points, potentially 18.
Well, he's running hot like a V8 down Conrod, isn't he? A V8 Falcon at the moment, Jordan Tuilai. As we see Francis Ledger with the opportunity to add the extras, but this has been a very good first half performance by the Falcons. And the Stingrays at the moment reeling somewhat. Rod Ratu will be looking forward to getting them in, saying, hey, we can come back here if we keep our heads. And of course, 16 points in the modern rugby league easily attained if you can get a groove on. But at the moment, that groove belongs to the Falcons, particularly with Jordan Tuilai. Good finish as well. Here is Ledger looking to add the extras. The Huda won't be too far away in the background, I suspect. It looked like we've gone the 40. Up go the flags again. And a solid first half effort. Half time. And it is the Akarana Falcons who lead the county's Monaco Stingrays 28-10. It's been a strong first half performance, and there'll be plenty more try-scoring action coming up after the half-time break. Speaking of which, Tash will interview Tui Lola here back from the Tigers, and we'll go through all of those first half tries as well. You're watching NZRL Premiership Round 2 from Mount Smart. Kia ora, welcome back. You're watching Sky Sport, and here are the highlights of the first half. Rayleigh Buchanan with a lovely feed from Polima Siaki, who cut through like a hot knife through butter. And that was only 4 minutes into the game, converted as well. A few minutes passed, and then Johnny V came flying through.
Oh, he got up nice and high. There was 3 Akarana Falcons, and they beat them all to the ball, the spin, and under the post.
Rayleigh Buchanan, well, he just couldn't be stopped early on in the game. At the 12th minute, comes surging across the line, the 23-year-old, looking fine as well. And then this inside ball from Tuilai back inside to Price. Exceptional. And the lazy one gets one in.
And we saw this big man, nothing lazy about him too. He knew that he was going to get over the line. He spotted up on Jordan, and he come through. But this man, Rayleigh Buchanan, again, offloading ability to Tuilai as he evades the fullback and gets across under the post.
And it was only 3 minutes later when he was able to do the same thing, this time from Tippins. A bit of a spin, a pirouette, and in to score. 28-10, and now it's up to the Stingrays. They'll have to do what the Falcons did to Waikato in the second half, but there's a big road home. Let's go down to Tash sideline with a special guest.
Yes, and that special guest is fresh from Queenstown, looking all relaxed. Hey, Tui, how are you going back in New Zealand now?
Yeah, it's good to be home. Come back and I guess spend a bit of time with family and friends and that. So, like you said, yeah, fresh off a little trip, and it's been good to be back home.
Very nice. Now, you left halfway through the season. You headed across the ditch. Besides the footy, what was that like for you?
Oh, it was a whole new experience, really. Being more independent, I guess, was a big one for me, and I was kind of staying by myself or in a house with one of the boys, but I kind of had to do everything on my own, and that was probably the biggest thing for me. But I've loved every moment I've been over there, and just got a smile on my face every day, and it just makes life a whole lot easier, I guess.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people have a smile on their face seeing you down here today to support homegrown goodness here with the rugby league. You, of course, donned the Akarana jersey back in the day. Who are you going for today?
Yeah, like you said, had the Akarana jersey on under 17s, so yeah, definitely backing the boys in blue and white. So yeah.
Well, a couple of weeks away now, we've got the Rugby League World Cup going down, and you are going to be wearing a red jersey representing Mate Matonga. What inspired that switch?
Oh, I guess just the pride and passion I have for the jersey. It's kind of really hard to explain the difference between the two jerseys. Tonga is it's not really on the map, in the rugby league, like as other places. So, I know we've probably have a good team. So hopefully we can, put ourselves up there and, have a good campaign with the boys.
Well, we look forward to seeing you in the Rugby League World Cup, which kicks off in a couple of weeks' time. But coming up very soon, the second half of Akarana Falcons and Counties Manukau Stingrays.
Welcome back to Mount Smart Stadium, and at half-time it's 28-10, and really for Rod Ratu and his Counties Manukau Stingrays, Jordan Tuarai really just stuck a knife into their efforts, didn't he, with 2 tries in the last 5 minutes of that first half, which asks the question, what's underneath that hat? Well, that's not the question.
That's a very smart footballing brain underneath that hat. That would be John Ackland.
I reckon.
Timely.
Good to see him. Of course, coached Otahu through the Sharman Cup, and now is staying with them too to coach them in the Fox Championship as we see the teams making their way back out onto the field. That's Geronimo Doyle there in jersey number 1. Now, for Rod Ratu's charges here, what will they have to do? They're down 5 tries to 2 and 18 points. Doable, but the start's got to be so vital for them.
Look, it is doable, but if they are going to come back and score some points, they've got to ensure that they stop this side from scoring points, and that's going to be a good start containing that man right there, Riley Buchanan. Defensively, Counties have to be strong. They can't let any more points in.
Riley Buchanan's been outstanding. He developed that muscle with Turkish bread. I'm picking anyway, as we see the Stingrays. That's George Edwards. George on the left wing for Rod Ratu. Francis Ledger with the restart. Got an array of body adornments as Francis. Here's the restart too. 28 points to 10. Really important that the Stingrays minimise errors. Control the football, get to the back end of their sets and drill into the corners with good chases. At the moment, just really being dictated to by this Falcons team, or running hot. And the combos between particularly the number 6 and Raleigh Buchanan have been hugely effective. It's 2-0. There is the latter, the tackler in 11. He's been working hard. This man can make some inroads, as we've seen already. A charging effort from Nick Ariaiti. He plays at 5 metres into enemy territory. Through the hands they come, and Willie Stowers keeping it alive. Ledger's up there quickly. He's always a chance for an intercept, Ledger. This time it's John Footenboat. He's wrapped up on the 5th and final tackle. Dummy half work for Gillette. Now it comes to Joyce. A poor kick. This one, in fact, has gone backwards. Geronimo Doyle is there and looks to take it. Raleigh Buchanan gets hold of the ball. If he can pop the pass, it will be danger time, but he can't get the ball away. And he's already a couple of metres inside the Stingrays half. They look down the left edge, but a poor play of the ball is the undoing. First mistake we've seen from Daniel, who's been playing exceptionally. But a breath of relief for the Stingrays.
Oh, they're very lucky. Got their get out of jail card right there. Would have been in prime position for this Falcon side. Just over halfway already on 0 tackle. As we see the Stingrays setting up now. We mentioned they've got to be strong defensively, but they've also got to throw a bit of caution to the wind. I believe 18 points, especially the way the Falcons have been tackling, is going to be hard to get, especially stopping them scoring themselves. So plenty of numbers, plenty of passes in, maybe a bit of offloading, but the one-out sort of plays like that is not going to help their cause.
Yeah, I'm with you on that too, Monty. They really need to be quite innovative and experimental in a sense. Try something a little bit different. The chip and chase might be an option, but first they've got to be the first to score here in the second half. Nicholas Wilson on debut today for the Stingrays is rounded up and put away 22 metres out from the try line. Stowers comes across to Ariati, and he again gets through the first line of defence, manages to pop the pass out. Johnny V gets hold of the ball and he angles towards the line, but he's lost it as he goes to ground. It's a bit of white line fever just as he approached his opportunity. You see so often guys look up, see the line, but don't control the football, and that was the case this time for the Stingrays 11.
Oh, the second phase play by that man, Ariati, that would have been good. They got it out from the edge straight after him. See the pass here. He looked for the Sunny ball out the back. He tried to pull it back in, but he couldn't grip it. There you go. I think he's got to try and go around the back. He wasn't reaching for the line, but still now they coughed up position. And it's Falcons coming out of their own end.
Well, Isita hasn't had a lot of ball, but he's got a lot of wheels. This time around, he is corralled on the 20-metre line. This is some good D as well. It's Joyce getting himself involved. Tackle number 2 and being asked to just back up slightly. Out it comes to the big number 8, Salafale Lua. He's pinned Wooden Gillette as well. 40, Kingy. Ledger moving to dummy half, but then Tippin steps in as Taylor Daniels plays the ball to him. Tuarai on the inside, picks up Sua. Sua still going, beautiful ball. And Siaki is like me, I thought it was okay. But Polima, yes, making a little mistake.
Siaki was gone, he was gone. Great offload. Second phase as he went through the middle of the field. You see it's a little late cut again. Very good Sua. Look at that, falling to the ground. He still keeps the pass on. Polima Siaki, not happy with himself. He was gone. Some big contributions early in this game, and he's looking to start the second half off in the same way. Speed has been electric. Again, it's been a little bit messy, Dale.
Yeah, a little bit up and down. I think the Stingrays realise how important it is that they score the next try. I'd like to say a big kia ora to Pete McGill. He's come up from the Hawke's Bay, visiting his dad in his 90s. He'll be watching on here today. He loves his rugby league as we see the Stingrays now mounting a challenge towards the line. This time the door shuts and it closes heavily by Ralu Buchanan. Here come the Stingrays. They need to get across the line first in the second half. Rutenbo, he is wrapped up in a wall of Falcons defenders. And an impressive collective attitude on show. Down the short side they come, and the Stingrays with a chance. A beautiful ball, and that looks to be a good try for me in the corner. George Edwards, wow, this seemed to have slipped forward. I was looking more at the put down, and Edwards came up very confidently, but the ball is deemed to have drifted forward.
Oh wow, it was Howard Brown who did all the magic work. He was great out of dummy half, going down that short side, splitting defenders, holding up the pass, delaying it before he offload, but still to no avail, as there's no try, couldn't quite get there. Right here, look at this, he splits the defenders, nice offload, but he found a knockout in that situation there from George Edwards. Real shame, would have been just what they needed to get some belief, encouragement back to go again.
You ready?
46 minutes gone here. No adjustment to the scoreboard. If you've just joined us, a reminder that it was the Canterbury Bulls that had success over Waikato earlier in the day. FMG Stadium down there in Hamilton. 32-28 results for the Southerners.
Tackle 3, release them. Now wide.
5 short of the halfway. It's the Stingrays, one of the 2 Auckland-based franchise. The Stingrays draw their players from Margaret East and Howick, also from Pakuranga and Papakura, Franklin. Tuako, Waiuku, Pukako, He Papatoetoe, Otara Manukau and Otahuhu. They are the clubs that Rod Ratu is able to draw from for this South Auckland franchise. With the ball this time as Falelua, he takes it to 22 metres out from the try line. The Stingrays, well, not only do they have to score, but as you mentioned, Monty, they've got to stop the Falcons from scoring, and that's going to be hard work as Sua finds himself 15 metres out from the try line. Full of running at the moment as Tuarai. He's been a real thorn in the side and gets it across to Pasene. And the penalty as well is an easy 2, but you get the feeling that Akarana are comfortable with where they're at. So they'll look for the 4-pointer. Tapped by Tippins. Wide for Kingy. Kingy isolated and easily accounted for by the Stingrays defenders, including Reece Charlie, Johnny Vutenbo. That ball has gone down, picked up by Falelua. And he is away from one and then shut down in the effort of County Dawson, who puts him away. 5 metres out from the try line, Tippins decides to go to the left. Tuarai with the drop-off on the inside for Rayleigh Buchanan. He gets his hat-trick. How good has the young man been? Right from the get-go, he has been on top of his game. That's his 3rd try. Rayleigh Buchanan, he is one of the best here this afternoon.
Well, it's the line he ran at pace, and he was going past multiple defenders didn't have the capability of putting a hand on him. That was the line he ran as he got close to the line, and he puts the ball down. We have a look at here. He comes back in on a cross play. He runs just enough. He picks the gap well. And some of his other tries too, he made a beeline through that gap. Defender's unable to come across. And Geronimo Doyle was unable to get underneath him, stop the ball. Jeez, he's had a fine game, a hat-trick. A couple of try assists as they talk about what happened, what eventuated after a plan that they maybe had going into the set. It's been wonderful.
Well, if this is his first year playing rugby league, imagine if he'd been playing for 10, 15 years. Holy dolly, he's got some skills.
Well, it's better late than never. And we're happy that he's in our code, rugby league. Even if he has to move up from down in Wellington to play in a system that he likes very much.
We like watching him as well. Francis Ledger has a bit of a gimme from close range here. And the Stingrays, well, they're being stung, aren't they? And they nowhere to look except at each other. Yes, they need to score tries, but also need to defend heartily. And can't say that that defensive effort was hearty. Let's have another look at it. Sure, the angle was good, but there are opportunities there. In fact, just players out of position, really. And Raulu schools them with a beautiful angled run.
Seems to have the knack of splitting defenders where the defender has indecision or is not too sure about whether he can go in. So he's worried about those around him and clashing. But geez, well-timed run, nice line. Good result, hat-trick.
Number 7 gets us underway there. Joyce played some footy as well for the Otara Scorps. Papakura as well. Akarana are with the ball through Taylor Daniels. Daniels out of Northcote, and 23-year-old. Played last season with Point Chevalier. And this year's joint winner of the Auckland Rugby League Player of the Year, Taylor Daniels. He's in strip number 12 for Akarana. And well, everything's coming up trumps at the moment. They've got the Midas touch, haven't they, the Falcons? Down the left edge from Morgan Timothy Cook. And the ball just teasing everyone, looking like it's going to go across the sideline, but stayed in by a fraction of a centimetre.
Toitu with the run then. It's very direct in what they needed to try and get their way through a very impressive defensive line that's coming off in numbers and with great line speed.
Wilai Lupo, the co-captain, is back into the mix, and that's him with the football. Across it comes to Joyce, looked to be slightly forward, but that's okay. Some wheels on display at the moment. The inside ball finds Edwards, keeping it alive this time. Joyce has had the ball jarred loose. It ends up in the hands of Zach. He'll play it 20 metres in from the western touchline here. Corey Sita comes across. Getting precious to the ball down the left edge. Danger times here is confidence. If it wasn't already sky high on the build at this time. It will be a turnover.
Knock on. Akarana ball. Touch, as he was offloading, there's a little touch on me.
Oh, there you go. You can hear referee Shane Ream in the background.
And halfway right now as we have a look and see what Shane Ream ruled on. It was a nice line there coming back in. Gets the grain by Waka. He tried to pass the ball, but you see the tackler coming in there. Counties, you saw the ball take a different line, and that's a result of a hand. Said, man, Palima Siaka has to go. Siaki.
He's 42 metres out. 34-10 the scoreline here. It's a bit of a one-way traffic scene at the moment, isn't it? And you can see that the Falcons are very much in control at the moment. As it comes to Kapawa, with a familiar carry. Charges into Johnny Footenbow to the right-hand side. Kingy now Daniels. And he's wrapped up, put to ground. Only 8 metres out from the try line. Ledger to the acting half roll. It's Kingy first receiver. Tuolai has been good. There's a floater opportunity for Siaki. Out wide they come and picking up Cole Walker on the far side. And some scrambling defence. Keeps Walker at bay, but the threat still lingers here as the Falcons looking very, very good. The grubber kick through is nicely read. And from the Stingrays, secured as well from the man at the back. And now they'll just work their way away from the danger zone, this time through Siddhavini Dofa.
Well, that's going to make things a bit easier. The penalty, helping you get out of your end where they've been camped for the last sort of 10 minutes. Ball out now, we see how far they're able to go up the field. This is County side.
The game's gone into a little bit of a flat period here, hasn't it? As we've seen the dominance of the Falcons over the last 5 or 6 minutes. Through that first half, of course. A good field position. Nicholas Wilson gets up to play the ball, and another piggyback penalty will give further momentum for the Stingrays, and they will need it, believe you me. On the 40-metre line. Steve Wilson on debut today. Finding the pace a little more than perhaps what he was used to in the Fox Championship, that's for sure. Let's have another look at it. Gets up to play the ball. Picks up the ref appealingly. 10 metres in. Now, let's see what the Stingrays may have in store. It is Dowers on to Ailupor, the two co-captains combined. Ailupor to play it on the 15 metres. Here's a chance for the Stingrays. Brown to play it. First receiver is Stowers on to Wilson. Fairly predictable and easily accounted for as the sliding defeats of the Falcons up to the challenge. 5 metres away. So it's Stowers. There's Joyce. Sending it wide. Sito benefits from the bounce. The ball's been jarred loose, leaving it alone. Francis Ledger has it, and play on, says referee Ream.
Well, as Edwards got his hand in there, dislodged the ball, and it went straight into the Falcons' hands. Ledger plays it, and once again going forward, Falelua. Been good today. Kapawa, Falelua, little third of the field. Not the biggest forwards. They've got great footwork.
Cole Walker on the 40-metre line. Dummy half work for Tippins. Back row of Price. Wrapped up by Brown. That's him in 14. Working hard to Kingy. Tried to split them at the back. Edwards takes it easily on his 20. Kingy on the chase. Taylor Daniels and Ledger all assist. And a shoulder charge.
You've turned your body and you got him in the head. I know it wasn't intentional, but you got him in the head and you've turned. Right? Shoulder. Stay behind.
Good refereeing on show there by Shane Ream as well. So 16 gone into the second half. 1 try extra to the scoreline. Half-time 28 to 10. It's 34-10 now. Just joined in this afternoon. You're watching round 2 of the Premiership as we see a darting run here from the Stingrays, and towards the line goes Willie Stowers. He is pulled down a metre short. The scooping, looping ball out wide finds Wilson, but can he get the ball away? I doubt it. He's closed down on the tackle of Jordan Tuolai, and ball play 5 metres up from the try line. Waiting is Cruz Tupou for the ball. There's a penalty there, and it could easily have been a professional foul as well. He's trying to rob some momentum from the attacking team. Cruz Tupou with the tap. The charging runners, Vinisi Tautalanoa. Tautalanoa, of course, also from Howick, ex-Pakuranga Jaguar. Inside ball for Aya Lupo. He angles his run. Good D, Taylor Daniels again. ARL or joint player of the year, Taylor, into the hands of Gillette. He's away on the 10-metre line now. Tupou sums up proceedings, pops the ball out to Johnny Vutembo. He saw the line but couldn't quite get to it. Good defence by Ledger and also by Daniels. Tupou, flat ball, poor pass, bounce kind, still alive. That one's average as well, and a very poor pass. And for Willie Stowers, some disappointment.
Yeah, put that down to the line speed from the Falcons. A bit of fatigue. They're trying hard to come up with that play to bust the line. You see, this was a nice little pass, and inside, and Stowers, we thought he was going to go the way. He was fighting to get over the line. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get there. This is the knock on. Pass out here to Stowers, the same man who made the break off the offload. Knock on, but geez, the line speed and the way they got off their line, the Falcons, to put pressure. Hearing the footsteps come was enough to cough up position.
Yeah, it was a poor pass. Tautalanoa knew that he had made a mistake, but they're just trying to put a little more clip into their work. And they'll need to. They've got one eye on the clock as well as we come to 3-quarter game time. But what about the chase from Selingi Kapawa to pull down Stowers? The prop forward grabs him from behind and reels him in a metre out from the try line. He's the man of the moment that we're speaking of. Selingi Kapawa's had a strong game today. As the ball's popped out to Price. Across the line for a try. Price in the 16th minute. This time he's able to get across and into Stingray's territory. Quick play the ball for him. Tippings a couple of steps and then finds Tuarai, little dummy. And Jordan still able to keep it alive. It is back to Tippins now for Price. And the back rower shapes up. Plenty of involvement too from Tippins. I really like the starting lineup that's being used here by Keith Hanley. It's taking nothing away from Zion Leoka. Just the experience telling a zero play. The Stingrays have the ball, an inside one for Reece Joyce. Can he get the pass away? Corey Sita says, I don't think so. And wraps up the halfback. He'll play it for Doyle. Now for Edwards. Little stammer or a shimmy just as he gets to the defensive line from George Edwards. At the moment, really making little inroads, to be honest, Monty. It seems like a bit of one-off running, and they're certainly not going to get the job done with that approach. They've got to be a bit more expansive, throw a bit more caution to the wind, I suspect. The Stowers gets hold of the ball, shows it. Balls like that, they've got to pop the passes now and deliver up.
Yeah, they need to. They need to throw caution to the wind. Second phase is going to help, especially with such a strong defensive line that keeps throwing at them. Even the tackle tech and the numbers in the tackle all working for each other. A big difference on last week against Waikato.
Howie Brown to play it. Here is Stowers looking to thread the needle. And good D at the back by Cole Waka, who's able to secure the football and remain in the field of play. So everything coming up roses at the moment for the Falcons.
Waka coming out of his end was good. And that guy still, you know, he does it all, as all good fullbacks do. It's not just about scoring tries for him. Siaki, he likes to do the hard work. He likes to take pressure off his forwards. Dummy half work has been exceptional too. Just like the variety once again from this Falcon side. Some good dummy half runs, some nice passing in the ruck. It just really puts the defensive line in two minds so they don't come off their line. They can't, you can't be, they're not so predictable, so they can't get numbers in the tackle to slow you down.
Tell you what, Monty, one of the favourites today, and I think one of the most hard-working on paddock, is Saringi Kapawa. I think he's an exceptional game. He's been everywhere, the prop forward. And even in that set, carried twice. And, really willing to get involved. I think we'll see him in shot here as well. A bouncing effort from George Edwards. Zali Oka making the tackle there on George. Dubo. Lupo. Raleigh Buchanan makes the tackle to go on top of his 3 tries today. The inside pass looking for Tuila. Finds Raleigh Buchanan. He's heading away from Geronimo. Inside ball. Here comes Cole Walker. Well, you can put it down because Cole Walker will streak away and score underneath the posts. What a play, and Raleigh Buchanan again involved. He's had an outstanding game. Well, I mean, I was just singing the praises of Kapawa, but you'd have to whack Raleigh Buchanan into the mix as well. And there is the tired form of the man who ran half the length of the field anyway, Cole Walker. But, there's Reece Joyce in shot there. There's Walker. And another try with 18 to play. This is becoming something of a cricket score and a bit of an embarrassment, really, to the Southsiders.
Last year's national champions, Akarana, against last year's runner-up, Counties Manukau. Very good. I thought when you went back that maybe that was a shoulder barge and get called back for, but it came back in, and that man Raleigh Buchanan, he knew he didn't have the wheels to get across, so he looked for the support on the inside, and this guy had plenty of wheels. Waka, he knew what to do. Cole Waka scored a try. He's still taking his breath back now. Raleigh Buchanan too having a drink, well deserved from those two boys. It has really been an exceptional performance put on by the Premiers. They spent a lot of the time defending what Counties had to throw at them. As soon as they transitioned into attack, there was plenty of numbers there, showed great speed and able to score in any position of the field, really. Very good display by the defending champions.
And as mentioned, something of an embarrassment. Now the scoreline will kick out to 40 points to 10. And this is really schooling the Stingrays at the moment. As we get a look at a pretty satisfied bench, you'd have to think. The game appears to be in the bag with plenty of time to go as well. There's Francis Ledger running it back. But again, hats off to Raleigh Buchanan and to Cole Walker. He got himself into position as well. Read it. Just acknowledging those who play rugby league in the Defence Forces. And, every now and then we see them come together for their national tournaments. Navy, Army and Air Force. Hotly contested. The police are in that too. So 40 points to 10. And you can't win the championship if you're going to concede this amount of tries. Counting them up. 7 tries already. Raleigh Buchanan gets hold of the ball. Something of a maestro out there today. 30 metres out from his own line. A late pickup for Joseph Price. Crabbing across field, but just trying to elude those defenders. Hell bent on putting him away. The ball's popped up and back onto Paya Manukia. He'll get it into the hands of Siaki. It's going through the motions at the moment. You feel the Stingrays.
Oh, look, they're trying really hard. They're trying to obviously fire some shots themselves, but defensively, they just can't make any stops. This side, the Falcons, they're just offloading it well, playing what's in front of them well, and now even just controlling the game in terms of tempo, realising now when to kick the ball out, I'm just going to walk to the scrum, reset, and then do it all over again. Very good display, a complete display from the reigning Premiers. The ball in hand and without. Maybe a little bit underdone last week, as Hanley suggested, but what a difference a week makes, because they've been on song for what they've done.
Akarana Falcons.
Second rows, Auckland second rows.
On show here today, up against the county's Monaco Stingrays.
Out.
As mentioned, Rod Ratu, the coach of the Stingrays, enjoying some national success, having coached the Southern Cross campus team to the National Secondary Schools Championship a couple of weeks ago. Final on Sky Sport, of course. Here they go, though. The Stingrays have it. Cruz Dupont and never back, so a bit of a piggyback penalty as well. To the 40 metres we go, and it'll be Reece Joyce. Had a quiet game, Reece. Today, the halfback just hasn't been able to weave his magic, and he's pretty good when he gets a chance as well. But the defence has been too good, and Johnny Wittenbow proves that he's one of the best on track today. The second rower, who, as we mentioned earlier on, when he scored his try in the 9th minute, is in the training squad for the Fiji team. And George Edwards signalling that perhaps he's injured, but Johnny V, well, he made that one himself. He made it look easy.
He did. Another look at that. Just one off run. You could see the target coming from a mile back, but he still, once again, was able to split defenders. Look at that little bit of an evasion step. Guys grabbing at him. Siaki coming across. He couldn't help. He's probably a little bit surprised that he got in that situation. You've got to use those shoulders. You've got to get it nice and close. Nice little palm off the end to stop the fast approaching Siaki getting across and making the tackle.
Johnny Wittenbow, very, very good. He's got the old handlebar moustache going on too. All he needs is a sombrero, and he would look like one of those guys from Mexico. Took a while to get that second try, didn't it?
And it was much needed too. Obviously, 12 minutes left to play. Makes him feel like they're much closer. Definitely a lot more respectable on the scoreboard. And we often see, especially in this grade, when you score a try, you quite often get back down that end and score again. Remember that these two teams are quite possibly playing off in the final again, repeat of last year, 2016. So you don't want to give any psychological advantages to one side, realising that there was a comprehensive win. See what they can do now on the scoreboard.
Well, you'd hope that the Stingrays will come back and put a little bit more respectability into the scoreboard as well. That kick is awkward and almost reclaimed as well by the Falcons. Fortunately for the Stingrays, Willie Stowers was there to get hold of the ball. Lupo says, well, hey, I'll have a go. Rowley Buchanan sorts him out on the 30. Quick play the ball as he rolls to his feet, and Tupou shuffles forward, manages to get the ball away to Dave Totu on the far side. Toitu, and a runner on the inside. Let's just see how we go here. Siaki's on the chase, and he just runs out of options this time around. That's Buchanan Rafiti. And we're pleased to see that his shoulder is back okay now, and Howard Brown is wrapped up on the 10-metre line. Could play the ball for him, and a darting run by Royd, and Gillette goes across the line, and I think he's got that ball down as well, and Ream will say yes, that's okay. He goes across to his touch judge, and no complaints from the touchy, and so back-to-back tries for the Stingrays.
Yep, I mentioned it. I said that's quite often the case, and what happens once again, there was individual play. That man Royd and Gillette, he got over the line easy enough, but he had to fight and fight again to get that ball down. There was hands, there was knees, there was everything there trying to stop this man from scoring a try. Not possible. And that's why he's smiling. You mentioned respect coming back on the scoreboard, but also in these minds for when they next play again. Look at that out of dummy half. Nice little play, sort of missed tackle there by Waka. He's able to get away. Great run indeed by Toitu. As he gets to the ball now, it was the speed in which he plays it here. Look at that, just out of dummy half. Both markers go the same way. He tries to get the ball. At first it was on a leg, it was on a knee, it was on a hand. But you got to think that a part of that ball did get over there and score the try. Just needs to be a blade of grass. Stowers moves in for the kick.
Well, the Story raises the flags as well, so a bit of a rear guard action here for the Stingrays, a bit of more respectability into the scoreline. And I felt for Royden Gillette too, because he found himself a little isolated, managed to go to ground with the ball rather than doing anything silly, and then he gets into the dummy half position and capitalises from there. So a 20-point split, 40 to 22, sorry, the conversion successful. 8.5 minutes to play. Let's just see what happens in the next 1 or 3 minutes, and if they're able to get another try, we could see something remarkable. I'm not anticipating it, but I would, like you would at home, perhaps just like to see it. That excitement at the back end, and teams who look down and out, having a charging run towards the finish line. Speaking of charging runs, that one was a charging run as well, and quickly to his feet. Ayulupo now comes gassing towards Riley Buchanan and is tackled 8 short of the halfway. Cruz. Totalanoa across the halfway line this time. So where they weren't making inroads into the Falcons' defence, now for some reason we can see that the Southside team are. Final tackle. Try something different. Reece Joyce look for the up and under. Well, it's deeper than was needed and few chases, to be honest. And Siaki has an unencumbered run to take the ball on the run. He does that skillfully enough too before he goes to ground 15 metres from his line.
7 minutes left to play. Region 1 team doing all the work early on to get out to a big point lead. This county start fighting back now. Also, too imperative that Falcons finish strong.
Part of the good news is that Buchanan Lafferty's back on the field. Plenty of footy ahead there for Keith Stanley. Five into the Stingrays half now. Yorker puts the ball up. At the back, Doyle takes it. 15 from his own line and sends it across to Tofa, his Otahu teammate. Carries it to the 30. Doyle slides into acting half and gains a few metres before he is sandwiched in the tackle of Sewer and also Taylor Daniels. Kidney involved there as well. The captain of the Falcons, plenty of experience. He's been able to guide the ship, so to speak, from that half-back position pretty well today, pretty effectively. Ayulupo finds himself centre field 35. Down the right edge they go, looking for an opportunity. Popped passes. Certainly worth a go now at this late stage of the game. Tofa. Across now onto Joyce. Chipping over the top. Edgy gets hold of it, it's gone back into the end goal, and so the Stingrays will get the ball again, but the clock is their enemy, as you can see, with just on 5.5 to play.
I think Falcons realise that. They know it's just a matter of playing this one out. Just weathering the storm, and they are finishing strong. The Stingrays, it's probably too late. Although they'll be buoyed with whatever they've had in the last 10 minutes and how much success they've had.
Well, they've scored the last couple of tries, but the first two, they need to score early in the second half after going in to the sheds at 28 to 10. Just Riley Buchanan kicked their dreams in the gut somewhat with a try 8 minutes into the second half, and then Waka scoring that long-range try just a few moments later. 40 to 22, big scoreline here. Entertaining if you like watching tries being scored, not so entertaining if you're looking for a hard and uncompromising defensive effort from the two teams. Both squads full of running, full of talent as well. I think there could be another try before the curtain comes down on this one as well. Here's Francis Ledger, who steps back on the inside, wrapped up by Joyce, who will play the ball quickly. And Ioka finds Waka.
He's locking in.
Siaki has been good today. Polima steps into the fold as Sua has another charge, the 24-year-old. He's on the 40-metre line. Graham, Kingy, Tuarai, and inside. Manukia. Some disappointment on show too for the Stingrays, but hey, they'll go back on remaster Tuesday, Thursday, the week ahead. Get ready for the action next week. Triple header coming your way next week too from the Trust Stadium out there in Auckland's West. And don't forget as well, coming up the big grand final next week of the NRL, and soon after, all the very best teams of the world come together for the World Cup. They're played here in New Zealand and in Australia, and a game too in Papua New Guinea, I note. It's great to have the very best international rugby league talent here in the Southern Hemisphere for the 2017 World Cup. All of the action, every single game, live on Sky Sport. You won't want to miss that. 5 short of halfway, and the Stingrays just trying to add a little bit more respectability to the scoreline. Ledger wrapping up Edwards. Jumping out of dummy half, Cruz. Away from Kingy, gets the ball back to Edwards. Some good hands, a lot of vision, George. Able to put the best of his skill set on show here this afternoon. A throw from Reece Charlie. Back slammed as well on the last of the set. Charlie for Cruz. One of the two Reeses. And everyone's diving towards the ball and looking for a one-on-one strip. Corey Sita has control of it at the moment and takes a shot as well. And Francis Ledger looks to have injured himself. He's very sluggish as he gets to his feet now. Polima Siaki has the ball and he's wrapped up by Tautalanoa. Right in front of the post now, 12 metres out. Couple of minutes to play. It's been a solid performance. Rayleigh Buchanan with tries in the first half and one to have a wonderful hat-trick here in round 2 of the NZRL Premiership. Price as well scoring, and 2-2 at the back end of that first half. Took a 28-10 scoreline into the sheds as we see Price with a nice little offload to Manukia. Floating ball on the far side as well. And here is Cook. Pulled to ground 22 metres out. A couple of players down in back play too, as we see the Falcons just trying to put the icing on the cake. Ioka shuffles it across for Daniels, back inside to Ioka. He'll turn it back for Daniels. In fact, this time pops the ball up to Pasene, and he'll go with a cross-field kick. I don't know if there's a lot of communication with his teammates. The kick wasn't too bad, but it really wasn't the chase that can make the kick look good. Toitu put away just inside the 20.
1 minute left to play for this county side. See what they can do. 1 minute normally means 1-6. Not a good start to the set in terms of how far you're going to go to score a try. Can they bridge that gap, make it a little even more respectable?
Well, at the moment, 40-22 is probably a good indication of the form on show today. Raleigh Buchanan, Waka scoring early in the second half. 2 late tries for Edinburgh and Gillette as well, bringing up the scoreline that we are witnessing at the moment. But it's win number 2 to the Falcons here in round 2 of the Premiership, as the ball breaks left and heads across the western touchline with just on 15 or so seconds to play. And I don't think we'll even get time for the scrum. In fact, all the players milling around and awaiting the hooter. Shane Ream says, come on, fellas. I don't think that will be necessary, as the 40 minutes is now eclipsed. The hooter will go off in just a moment as well. So I hope you've enjoyed the action. Referee Shane Ream says, well, that'll do, and it will stay as it has for the last 10 minutes of the match. In the end, the Akarana Falcons too strong for the county's Monaco Stingrays. They win this one at Mount Smart 40-22. Well, it was a solid performance from the players from the Akarana Falcons, particularly that man on screen, Rayleigh Buchanan. 3 tries, and some of his angled run really had the defensive lines at 6s and 7s. Let's go down to hear from Phil Kingy, who's with Tash down on the field.
Now, Phil, congratulations on that one. That's 2 from 2 now against a very strong-looking Counties Manukau side there. The finals positions looking pretty promising from here.
Yeah, I suppose one more game to go and then final is a short comp, but I mean every team's pretty good, so we're lucky to come away with two good wins leading into the finals.
Now you got Canterbury next week. They're a very physical side as well. Will you change up your game plan heading into that game?
I don't think so. I think it's about doing what we do well back in every game, so that'll take us through.
Awesome, thanks very much. Go and celebrate with your boys.
Well, Phil King, he started at number 7. I think is a tactical move by Keith Handley. Pretty sound thinking. Two of the most experienced there with Zach Tippins and Phil Kingy, both, of course, Fox Championship winners this year as well. So that seemed to work pretty well for them. Let's go down in here from the co-captain for the Stingrays, Uila Ailupo.
Now, Wheeler, not the result you were after today. It didn't seem to go your way. What went wrong on the field there?
I guess our first up tackles wasn't on. I thought that our team let them get those quick clear balls. So yeah, all those things let us down.
On the back of last week's game, your coach was saying you were injury-free, and unfortunately in the first game you had Rafiti go off, but he came back on. What a difference did that make for your side?
Is that last week's game? You're talking about last week?
No, today when he went off injured, did his shoulder, Buchanan?
Oh yeah, no, it was a big loss for our team because we had to shuffle the team around. So yeah.
Okay, Waikato up next week. All the best, bro.
Well, there they are. There are the Stingrays. Are pretty disappointed, really. Remember, they win in 28-10 break, but the star of the show, really, and the man with the hat-trick was Daniel Rowley Buchanan. He's with Tash.
Yes, Daniel, the scorer of 3 tries today and a hand in many others. We've nicknamed you the maestro because of your performance on the field today.
Oh yeah, as all the Glenora fans will know, I'm actually known as Jesus. But you know, all the boys played well. Just credit to Manukau, you know, they came out strong. And all of us boys have all put in a lot of effort to get here. And also, you know, I wouldn't have got those tries if it wasn't for, you know, everyone, you know, playing well.
A team man at that. Now, going back to your hair there, do you have any spare hair ties on standby in case that one breaks?
Well, actually, 3 fell off in the first half. I don't know if you noticed, but my hair was all over the place. But I found them and, no, yeah.
You had some strong runs out there. The wind is blowing out here. What product do you use? Because your hair did not move much.
I actually don't use too much conditioner, so I start to get dreadlocks, but maybe just a budget one from Countdown.
Now, of course, next week you guys are going against Canterbury Bulls. How's the game looking there?
Oh, look, this is my first year of rugby league, and you know I'm not too familiar with all the teams, but I feel Canterbury, you know, they're always strong. Played a bit of rugby union, so if they're as strong as their rugby team, then you know, it'll be a good game.
Your first game of rugby league, your first year of rugby league. How are you finding it with the difference between rugby and rugby league?
Oh, definitely much different. You know, a lot more from what I've learnt. You know, rugby league is just a game of attack and defence, just up the guts and tackling around the legs for me.
Well, you got the physicality side down. All the best for next week.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, there's Daniel Rowley Buchanan. He had an outstanding game too. And, of course, referring to his nickname for his Glenora team, as we see the big number 8 saying farewell, or going up, in fact, to see some of his family as well, Sala Falelua. Well, a 22-40 result for the Akarana Falcons. Too strong for the county's Manukau squad. Stick around. We've got more to come right after the break. Welcome back to Mount Smart, and we're just going through the wrap-up of the Akarana Falcons' 40-22 success here in round 2 of the Premiership after leading 28-10 at half-time. Well, let's have a look how the standings are. There you are, the Akarana Falcons at the top of the table. Line up against the Bulls, Counties Manukau Stingrays, and third the Waikato Prems yet to secure a victory. And of course, these are the results from today's action. The FMG Stadium game today, the Bulls too strong for Waikato, and of course the 18-point victory for the Falcons.
So that's that's how it went down today. Game 2, round 2 of the NZRL Premiership for 2017. Akarana Falcons against Counties Manukau. 40 points to 22, Monty. You wouldn't have picked that at the start, would you?
Very comprehensive win, and I think Hanley said last week, Keith Hanley said that they were a little bit underdone, but what they've done in a week in terms of with the ball in hand and also defensively, very good indeed. They've put a message out to the rest of the competition that the champions are here, the reigning premiers are the ones to beat this year again.
They want to go back to back to back. And of course, again, the Counties Manukau team today, a lot of opportunities were there last week, just didn't seem there today.
Look, they finished the game off a lot better, and that scoreboard is a lot more respectable. When they're throwing the ball around, when they were able to have a bit of variety around the ruck and they got their big men involved, they did have their second phase, which was suiting them that much more. But, you know, defensively, they've got to be a little bit better. But once they got going, they were good.
Well, thank you very much for joining us here today for Game 2, Round 2 of the NZRL Premiership. We'll be back next week with a whole lot more action live at Trust Stadium here in Auckland.